How or when did you guys fall this far? And how the F can't you see that you are the laughingstock of the world? Well, I'll tell you. How did we fall this far? Very slowly. That's how a lot of people didn't even see it coming. The first thing that you have to understand about the United States of America is we are heavily inundated with propaganda all the time. Every single morning as school children, we had to put our hands over our heart and pledge our allegiance to the United States of America. We were constantly told that everybody on the planet wishes that they could be an American. So a lot of people became content to why would I want to go anywhere else? Why would I want to travel the world? This is the greatest place to be. And since the bulk of Americans never leave their country, they don't get to travel around and see that other people are living as good, if not better, than us. Instead, we were constantly told that other countries had it way worse than us. We would watch after-school cartoons. We would constantly see commercials for starving children around the globe. And our parents would tell us, see, that's what it's like to live in other countries. That's the norm everywhere else. But then the people who did travel outside the country who would say, they have things like socialized healthcare in these other countries. Our country would basically tell us that that is socialism and it is dangerous. It would tell us that every socialized country that there has ever been has failed, neglecting to tell us that a lot of the reasons why a lot of them would fail is because the United States would make them fail. They would take out those socialist leaders, install their own leaders so that they could make that country look the same or worse than us. But then there's the countries that have the socialistic economies where the people have free healthcare, free college, and that sort of thing. And we're like, why can't we have that? Out comes the propaganda again. Oh, those countries have way inferior healthcare to us. Those people have to stand in line for hours. They have death panels. They have all this terrible shit that you do not want to deal with. And that free education that you're talking about, that comes out of your taxes. You're paying for everybody's education, and that's not fair, is it? It's much better for your insurance to be tied to your job so that you feel scared about leaving your job so that you will put up with just about anything your job throws at you. It's better for you to take out student loans and put yourself into perpetual debt for the rest of your life rather than to have this free education. Because, as I said before, when you make those things free, then they become subpar. How? I don't know, but just go with it. So slowly over time, they start defunding our public schools and start making them worse and worse and start making conditions worse for our teachers. Pretty soon, our good teachers decide, I don't want to do this shit anymore, and they leave the profession and go do something else. So all we're left with is teachers that are either subpar or overworked and underpaid and can't do the job that they should be able to do. And the curriculum that these teachers are being forced to teach is not how to teach your students how to think. It's how to teach your students how to take a test. Because pretty much all of American school is how well do you perform on a standardized test. Higher education is filled with all these type of classes that are not guaranteed to help you succeed in life. Granted, there's some interesting topics, but they aren't geared towards finding you a job where you can get a career that pays off the student loan that you took out to be in this school. So you've got all these Americans that are now in perpetual debt. They're having to work 2 or 3 jobs to try and pay off this debt and still survive. A lot of them don't even have the time or the energy to want to know what's going on in the world or even watch the evening news, which isn't really that helpful because it's mostly propaganda. They get off work from their 3rd job, they go home and they just want to relax. So they just watch some mindless TV or something for a couple of hours before they pass out. A lot of these people do not have the time or energy to go home and cook themselves a healthy meal. So they pick up fast food or they eat a Hot Pocket or TV dinner. So understandably, a lot of them are unhealthy, exhausted, and miserable. So when the Republicans come along saying, well, the reason why you're miserable is because of these trans people or because you're paying too much in taxes and we're going to take care of that by getting rid of Social Security and stuff that you're paying into, they're like, oh, okay. Because unfortunately, they're too uneducated to know any better and they're too exhausted to learn. So then these billionaires come along and they say, look, we're billionaires, so we must be smart, right? So if you just do everything that we tell you to do, everything will be just fine. And these poor uneducated fools are like, sounds good to me. I'm on board. You're told that the liberals who are trying to make your lives better are trying to scam you in some way and take away all your money. But the billionaires are the smart people who really have your best interest at heart, and they want to see you become billionaires too so you can all hang out. And down the toilet we go. So when you ask, do we realize that we're the laughingstock of the world? The majority of Americans absolutely do not. They still think that you envy us. And those of us who are educated are powerless to change the system because we do not have the numbers. Anyway, that's America in a nutshell. I hope this made sense.